What if I told you that some of the most visited and powerful countries in the world have deep-rooted racism that many people don't talk about? In this video, we uncover the most racist countries in the world, based on real-life stories, global racism indexes, and shocking incidents. From discrimination against foreigners to racial profiling and hate crimes, these are the places where racial bias is a harsh reality. Is your country on this list? Stay with me until the end. You won't believe number 1. Racism exists everywhere, but in some countries, it's more extreme, more visible, and deeply ingrained in society. Whether it's institutional discrimination, xenophobia, or violence against minorities, some places are known for treating people differently based on race, ethnicity, or nationality. Using global racism reports, real-life experiences, and survey data, we're breaking down the 10 most racist countries in the world, from Asia to Europe, Africa to the Americas. 1. India. Colorism and caste-based discrimination. India is one of the most diverse countries in the world, yet racism and colorism remain widespread. Dark-skinned individuals, particularly South Indians and Africans, often face discrimination. The preference for lighter skin is so strong that the skin lightening industry is worth billions. Foreigners, especially Africans and Northeast Indians, often report being mistreated, denied services, or harassed in public places. Even Bollywood has faced backlash for promoting skin color biases through films and beauty standards. 2. Russia. Open racial attacks and nationalism. Russia has been criticized for widespread xenophobia and violent racist attacks. Reports show that migrants, black people, and Asians often face police harassment, hate crimes, and even violent assaults in major cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. The country's ultra-nationalist groups have been known for targeting foreigners, especially those from Africa, Central Asia, and the Middle East. Many travelers of color have shared stories of being followed, insulted, or even physically attacked on public transport. 3. China. Discrimination against Africans and foreigners. China has a history of discriminatory policies against certain racial and ethnic groups. Africans living in China have reported being denied housing, jobs, and even entry to restaurants and hotels, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, when black people in Guangzhou were unfairly blamed for spreading the virus. Additionally, the government has been accused of oppressing ethnic minorities such as the Uyghurs, Tibetans, and Mongolians, with reports of forced labor and mass surveillance. 4. Japan. The struggle for foreigners to be accepted. Japan is often seen as a modern and advanced country, but for many foreigners, it can be extremely unwelcoming. Many non-Japanese residents report struggling to rent apartments, get jobs, or be fully accepted into society. Despite being a global power, Japan has no anti-discrimination laws, meaning racism is not legally punishable. Foreigners, especially Black and South Asian individuals, often report racial profiling, being denied entry to businesses, and receiving negative treatment from locals. 5. Italy. Xenophobia in everyday life. Italy is a dream destination for many travelers, but racial discrimination is still deeply rooted. Reports show that immigrants, Black Italians, and people from North Africa face police profiling, job discrimination, and racial slurs in daily life. Football matches have also seen racist abuse towards black players, with crowds chanting slurs and making monkey noises. While the government has tried to address the issue, many minorities still struggle with social acceptance. 6. South Africa. A country still divided by race. Despite the end of apartheid, South Africa still struggles with racial tensions and economic inequalities. Many Black South Africans feel discriminated against in job opportunities, education, and social settings due to lingering effects of colonization. On the flip side, some white communities claim they experience reverse racism through land redistribution policies. The country remains one of the most racially divided nations in the world. 7. Germany. Racism in a progressive nation. Germany is known for strict anti-racism laws, but many foreigners, especially Muslims, Africans, and Eastern Europeans, report discrimination in the workplace, housing, and public services. There has been a rise in far-right movements, with attacks on refugees and immigrants increasing in recent years. Many travelers of color feel uneasy and unwelcome in certain areas. 8. Australia, racism towards Indigenous people and immigrants. Australia is one of the most multicultural countries, but Indigenous Australians have long faced discrimination, exclusion, and systemic racism. Reports show that Aboriginal people are more likely to be arrested, jailed, and face economic hardship than any other group in Australia. Additionally, African and Middle Eastern immigrants have reported racial profiling and social exclusion, especially in cities like Melbourne and Sydney. 9. Saudi Arabia, racism embedded in the system. Saudi Arabia has strict laws, but racism and classism remain deeply rooted. Many reports show that foreign workers, especially those from Africa, South Asia, and the Philippines, are treated poorly. There have been allegations of abuse, unpaid wages, and terrible working conditions for migrant laborers. Even within Saudi society, lighter-skinned individuals are often favored for jobs and social status. 10. USA, racial tensions and systemic discrimination. The USA is a diverse nation, but it has a long history of racial inequality, from slavery and segregation to modern-day racial profiling and police brutality. Studies show that Black and Hispanic communities face economic disadvantages, harsher prison sentences, and police discrimination. Hate crimes against Asian Americans and other minorities have also been on the rise. Despite its diversity, the U.S. remains one of the most racially divided countries in the world. Racism exists in every country, but in some places, it is more visible, more systemic, and more extreme. Whether it's government policies, hate crimes, or cultural biases, these 10 countries have been ranked as the most racist based on global reports and real-life experiences. What do you think? Have you experienced racism while traveling? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more thought-provoking discussions on global issues.